Nathan Law, now living in exile. Thank you for being with us,
Thank you so much for
Nathan.
having me.
Not at all. Chris Patten, the former governor, the last governor of Hong Kong, is calling this a large nail in the coffin of human rights in Hong Kong. Do you agree?
Well, I agree 100%. If we look at 4 years ago, the implementation of the national security law, after that, there are numerous human rights activists and political opposition that have been jailed. Some of them, they have been jailed for more than 3 years and still haven't got a verdict. And there have been 100% conviction rate. And the National Security Court's judges are all being appointed and no jury trial. So from the kind of implementation of the national security law, we can see that this patch of national security law would only be more suppressive and making the whole system more draconian.
Right. I mean, it's important to explain this is an expansion of an already tough, as you say, national security and controversial national security law. So specifically this time, who is targeted? Because it looks as though businesses could be, journalists could be. Who do you think is targeted in this?
You're absolutely right. Foreign entities living in Hong Kong are at risk because it can easily label someone as foreign agent. And journalists also will be at risk because the new set of theft of state secrets, the definition of state secrets is very vague. Anyone who investigated government's corruption, or even as we see in a few years back, COVID pandemic, all these journalists could face persecution just by doing their job. So all these things combined with an expansion of power. For example, police can break into suspects' home without a warrant, lock them up for 16 days, and deny them access to lawyers. All this new power given to the National Security Agency have been overwhelming. This adds up more concern to people.
Yeah, and part of this talks about colluding with external forces, and as you say, there's the new state secrets law. So this whole idea, Nathan, of one country, two systems, which was the agreement that should have lasted 50 years from 1997, so until 2047, that has been completely ignored now?
Well, the one country, two system has gone. If you look at how the Hong Kong government portray the whole situation now, it wholesale adopts the understanding of the PRC, which it sees the world as full of hostile forces and trying to subvert Hong Kong, and accuse external forces as the root cause of the past decades of uprisings and protests, which is entirely untrue. So how can you say that Hong Kong is still liberal and international under that lens looking into the world? And how can you say that there is significant separation and differences in between Hong Kong and China if they see it in that way? The premises of one country, two system is that we have two systems and we have two completely different political and legal and social system. But for now, seemingly, there's only one in between these two places.
Yeah. And the chief executive of Hong Kong, I should say, John Lee, he says the bill safeguards national security, develops the economy and improves people's lives. What would you say to that?
John Lee and all the supporters are illusional. All these developments recently, including the implementation of the national security law, mass persecution, driven out all the civil society and also foreign NGOs, has caused Hong Kong, its economy, its prospect, and people's well-being and livelihood. And the tacit beneficiary is Singapore. Singapore grows so rapidly and Hong Kong has been fallen so deeply. And the root cause is definitely the draconian political situation now. And with the national security law, new patch of it, it will only get worse.
What do you think Britain should do? There is talk about sanctions, further sanctions, but what do you think that Britain should do? Or has it kind of given up confronting China because it knows it won't make any difference? What should it do?
The British government should continue to uphold its obligation in the Sino-British Joint Declaration, continue to help Hong Kong immigrations coming from Hong Kong to the UK, add up to sanctioning individuals, officials who are responsible for these human rights crackdowns, and protect your own democracy, be aware of China's infiltrations and espionage events in the UK. I think the Hong Kong community here can be a helpful hand, and we can definitely be more vigilant towards the rise of these authoritarian expansion from the Chinese Communist Party.
And just finally, would John Lee, the chief executive, would he be one of those who should be sanctioned?
John Lee should definitely be sanctioned. He's already in the sanction list of the US government. He should be widely sanctioned, including the UK and other democratic countries.